Namaskar, Jai Shri Krishna. Propounding text 8, text 9 and text 10 of chapter 15, the Pandavas retire timely of first canto creation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 8. Yata sanni dhava hamu khandava magna ye ada mindram cha samara ganam tarasa vijitya labhadha sabha maya krutad bhuta shilpa maya digabhyo aharan drupatayo bali madhavare te. Because he was near me, it was possible for me to conquer with great dexterity the powerful king of heaven, Indradev, along with his demigod associates, and thus enable the fire god to devastate the Khandava forest. And only by his grace was the demon named Maya saved from the blazing Khandava forest, and thus we could build our assembly house of wonderful architectural workmanship, where all the princes assembled during the performance of Rajasuya Yajna and paid you tributes. The demon Maya Danava was an inhabitant of the forest Khandava, and when the Khandava forest was set on fire, he asked protection from Arjun. Arjun saved his life, and as a result of this, the demon felt obliged. He reciprocated by building a wonderful assembly house for the Pandavas, which attracted the extraordinary attention of all state princes. They felt the supernatural power of the Pandavas, and thus without grudge all of them submitted and paid tribute to the emperor. The demons possess wonderful and supernatural powers to create material wonders, but they are always disturbing elements in the society. The modern demons are the harmful material scientists who create some material wonders for disturbance in the society. For example, the creation of nuclear weapons has caused some panic in human society. Maya was also a materialist like that, and he knew the art of creating such wonderful things, and yet Lord Krishna wanted to kill him. When he was chased both by the fire and by the wheel of Lord Krishna, he took shelter of such a devotee as Arjun, who saved him from the wrath of the fire of Lord Shri Krishna. Devotees are therefore more merciful than the Lord, and in devotional service, the mercy of a devotee is more valuable than the mercy of the Lord. Both the fire and the Lord ceased from chasing the demon as soon as both of them saw that the demon was given shelter by such a devotee as Arjun. This demon, feeling obliged to Arjun, wanted to do him some service to show his gratefulness, but Arjun declined to accept anything from him in exchange. Lord Shri Krishna, however, was pleased with Maya for his taking shelter of a devotee, asked him to render service unto King Yudhishthir by building a wonderful assembly house. The process is that by the grace of the devotee, the mercy of the Lord is obtained, and by the mercy of the Lord, a chance to serve the Lord's devotee is obtained. The club of Bhimsen was also a gift of Maya Danav. Text 9. Yata tejasa drupa shiro angrim hanma khartham aryo anuja stava gaja yuta sattva virayah tena ruttaha pramathanatha makhaya bhupa yana mochita stadana yana bali madhavare te. Your respectable younger brother, who possesses the strength of 10,000 elephants, killed by his grace Jarasandha, whose feet were worshipped by many kings. These kings had been brought for sacrifice in Jarasandha's Mahabhairava Yajna, but they were thus released. Later they paid tribute to your majesty. Jarasandha was a very powerful king of Magadha, and the history of his birth and activities is also very interesting. His father, King Bruhadaratha, was also a very prosperous and powerful king of Magadha, but he had no son, although he married two daughters of the king of Kashi. Being disappointed in not getting a son from either of the two queens, the king, along with his wives, left home to live in the forest for austerities. But in the forest, he was benedicted by one great rishi to have a son, and he gave him one mango to be eaten by the queens. The queens did so and were very soon pregnant. The king was very happy to see the queens bearing children, but when the right time approached, the queens delivered one child in two parts, one from each of the queens' wombs. The two parts were thrown in the forest, where a great she-demon used to live, and she was glad to have some delicate flesh and blood from the newly born child. Out of curiosity, she joined the two parts, and the child became complete and regained life. The she-demon was known as Jara, and being compassionate on the childless king, she went to the king and presented him with the nice child. The king was very pleased with the she-demon and wanted to reward her according to her desire. The she-demon expressed her desire that the child be named after her, and thus the she-demon child was named as Jarasandha, or one who was joined by Jara, the she-demon. In fact, this Jarasandha was born as one of the parts and parcels of the demon Viprachitti. The saint by whose benedictions the queens bore the child was called Chandra Kaushika, who foretold of the child before his father Bruhadaratha. Since Jarasandha possessed demoniac qualities from birth, naturally he became a great devotee of Shiv and the lord of all ghostly and demoniac men. Ravan was a great devotee of Shiv, and so also Jarasandha. He used to sacrifice all arrested kings before Lord Mahabhairava Shiv, and by his military power he defeated many small kings and arrested them to butcher before Mahabhairava. There are many devotees of Lord Mahabhairava or Kala Bhairava in the province of Bihar, formerly called Magadha. Jarasandha was a relative of Kansa, the maternal uncle of Krishna, and therefore after Kansa's death, King Jarasandha became a great enemy of Krishna, and there were many fights between Jarasandha and Krishna. Lord Krishna wanted to kill him, but he also wanted that those who served as military men for Jarasandha might not be killed. Therefore, a plan was adopted to kill him. Krishna, Bhim and Arjun together went to Jarasandha in the dress of a poor Brahmanas and begged charity from King Jarasandha. Jarasandha never refused charity to any Brahman, and he performed many sacrifices also. Yet he was not on a par with devotional service. Lord Krishna, Bhim and Arjun asked Jarasandha for the facility of fighting him, and it was settled that Jarasandha would fight with Bhim only. So all of them were both guests and combatants of Jarasandha, and Bhim and Jarasandha fought every day for several days. Bhim became disappointed, but Krishna gave him hints about Jarasandha's being joined together as an infant, and thus Bhim dissected him again and so killed him. All the kings who were detained in the concentration camp to be killed before Mahabhairava were thus released by Bhim. Feeling thus obliged to the Pandavas, they paid tribute to King Yudhishthir. Text 10. Patnyasta Vadhi Makhya Lurupta Mahabhisheka Shalagishta Charukabaram Hitavaiha Sabhayam Sprushtam Vikirya Padayoha Patita Shrumukhya Yasatata striyo akruta hatesha vimukta keshaha. It was he only who loosened the hair of all the wives of the miscreants, who dared open the cluster of your queen's hair, which has been nicely dressed and sanctified for the great Rajasuya sacrificial ceremony. At that time, she fell down at the feet of Lord Krishna with tears in her eyes. Queen Draupadi had a beautiful bunch of hair which was sanctified in the ceremonial function of Rajasuya Yajna. But when she was lost in a bed, Dushasan touched her glorified hair to insult her. Draupadi then fell down at the feet of Lord Shri Krishna, and Lord Shri Krishna decided all the wives of Dushasan and company should have their hair loosened as a result of the battle of Kurukshetra. Thus, after the battle of Kurukshetra, after all the sons and grandsons of Dhritarashtra died in battle, all the wives of the family were obliged to loosen their hair as widows. In other words, all the wives of the Kuru family became widows because of Dushasan's insulting a great devotee of the Lord. The Lord can't tolerate insults upon himself by any miscreant, because the father tolerates even insults from the son. But he never tolerates insults upon his devotees. By insulting a great soul, one has to forego all the results of pious acts and benedictions also. Thank you.